Multiplying integers. This is part of the standard that is add, subtract, multiply, and divide positive, negative, rational numbers that are integers. So let's just watch a demonstration first. When you first learn multiplication, we learned that they mean groups. So in this case, I created 4 groups with 3 in them. And because there's a positive and a negative, I'm going to say the reds are negatives and the blacks are positive. So these are all like, there's one group and there's another group. So if I have 3 negatives, 3 positives, they would cancel out and be nothing. So I have 4 groups with 3 in them each, so that makes 12 negatives and 12 positives. Because we know 4 times 3 is 12. So really when you're multiplying, what's happening is you're telling the first number is to keep or take away. So I am going to keep, because it's positive, 3 groups of a negative 4. If it's keep, it's what the first number is positive. If you're going to take it away, it's negative. So I'm going to keep 3 groups of a negative 4. So I'm going to get rid of these out of here. What's left in my box? Well, what I'm left with is a negative 12. So in your notebook right now, I want you to write 3 times a negative 4 equals a negative 12. And let's see if we can find a pattern as we go along here. Okay, again, so it's negative now, so now I'm going to take away 3 groups of a positive 5. I need to take away my 3 groups of a positive 5. So these are going away. So that means this means it's a negative 15. You do agree that 3 times 5 is 15. Now why is it coming negative? Because I'm taking away my positives. Let's look at one more. And this has 7 groups of 3, which would give me 21 in here. So if I need to take away my 7 groups of a negative 3, I need to take away my negatives this time. I am left with, over here, 21 positive numbers. So negative 7 times a negative 3 is positive 21. Are you seeing a pattern that's happening? So let's try another one. If I'm taking, I need 4 negatives, 4 groups of 2's. So I'm going to put 4 groups of 2 in here. If I put in negatives, otherwise this is saying it's negative 8 right now, but I'm not sure that's right. So I need 4 positives, 4 groups of 2 that are positive. Now that makes it 0 in there. Then we don't have a value yet because the positive and negatives cancel out. I need to take away the negatives. So I'm going to take away the negative 2's. If I take away my negative 2's, I'm left with 8 positive. So let's get the rule for this. If, with multiplying integers, if the signs are the same, and they're both positive, the answer is positive. So for instance, 4 times 5 is 20, and negative 4 times a negative 5 is 20. If the signs are different, 4 times a negative 5 is a negative 20, and a negative 4 times 5 is a negative 20. It doesn't matter where the negative is. If you just have one different sign, it's going to be negative. A fun way to remember this is a little integer man. It looks like this. What I mean by this is we're going to use a little cover up here. I'm just going to use a shape to cover some things. So let's say a little square here, okay? And let's color it in. Color it in blue, perfect. Okay, if I'm going to use this to cover up pieces, I want you to watch for a second. So let's say here, I have a negative and a negative. So I'm going to cover up a negative, and I'm going to cover up this negative. I'm left with a positive. All right, let's try that again. So in this case, I have a positive I need to cover up, and I need to cover up the negative 5 or a negative. I'm left with a negative 20. Okay, let's try the bottom one. If I'm left with, I have a -4, so I cover up one of the negatives, and a +5. I'm left with a negative. So if you draw a little integer man, 2 eyes and a mouth, plus sign is the mouth, it works no matter what you do. So go ahead and give your worksheet a try.